What's up, Holistic Health Warriors? Dr. Scott Jahn here. And for those of you that are new to my channel, welcome to the tribe. So, as many of you may know, I've been doing a health detox cleanse. And part of that cleanse is going to be re-inoculating my gut after I'm finished with the cleanse. So we're going to add something called probiotics. Now, what are probiotics, right? Everyone's heard of antibiotics. You take them when you get an infection, right? But probiotics are actually a good bacteria that your body actually needs. Probiotics make vitamin K. They help make vitamin Bs, especially B12. They help with your gut health, with digestion, preventing inflammation. They also help keep the gut lining from getting what's called leaky gut and getting undigested foods into the bloodstream. They help with acne. They also help with mood. So they have a huge amount of benefits. Matter of fact, you actually have 10 times more probiotics or good bacteria in your gut than you have cells in your body. So sometimes people say we actually are just a host for bacteria. In fact, it was Hippocrates, the father and mother of medicine, which we get the Hippocratic Oath from, who declared over 2,300 years ago that all disease begins in the gut. So today I'm going to teach you an easy, inexpensive way to help recolonize the gut. Now, why is this so important again? Because your probiotics are going to be needed if you do not eat a completely organic food. Okay, so if you're eating any kind of meat, that meat has antibiotics in it, right? They feed the cows, the chicken, the pork, a lot of antibiotics because they're in an unclean environment. So you're going to ingest that and then it's going to kill your bacteria. If you've ever taken an antibiotic, you need probiotics, all right? So there's a couple of ways you can take probiotics. One is by getting a supplement. Now, supplements can be a little expensive, right? In addition, probiotics are alive. So a lot of times you don't know what you're getting, right? Probiotics will be destroyed with heat. So if you're getting a pill that's been sitting on a shelf for months, you may be only be getting a half, a third, or no live probiotics at all. Or if something's been in a shipping container and it's been exposed to heat, many of those probiotics may be dead. So we're going to teach you how to make your own probiotics for just pennies or pesos, in this case in the Philippines, where I am shooting from right now. All right, so let's go to the kitchen and let's make some probiotics. So welcome, we are in my kitchen, which I don't use a lot, but we are going to use it to make some probiotics. Now there's a couple different ways you can make probiotics. You can make or buy something called kefir. Okay, I bought this kefir, cost me 180 pesos. That's roughly $4, maybe a little bit less in American money. Now, this is good for 1 or 2 servings, and so again, it can get kind of expensive. And not to mention, we have to keep it in a cold place, and the transport can be a little bit hazardous for the probiotic. So you can use kefir, all right? It gets a little expensive, costs me about 180 pesos for about a day or two, okay? You can also make kombucha, which is a lot cheaper to do. Kombucha is made by fermenting some tea with some sugar, which maybe we'll explain that in another video. But the research has shown that soil-based probiotics are by far the best. Now, 2 of the most popular soil-based probiotics are kimchi, which is very popular in Asia, and sauerkraut, which is made from cabbage, right? So the difference between kimchi and sauerkraut mainly is a spice that you use with kimchi that makes it a little hot. So unfortunately, that can irritate the gut, right? And if you have something like Crohn's or colitis and you're taking probiotics to try and help ease those symptoms, or even irritable bowel, that can be irritating. So we're gonna make sauerkraut, okay? Now, sauerkraut is very, very easy to make and very beneficial and very cheap. All you need is a head of cabbage and a little bit of sea salt. So what we're gonna do is, let's set this here. We're gonna open our cabbage. So we're gonna peel off the first few layers just because there may be pesticides on it or whatnot. Now, cabbage does not tend to hold pesticides as much as some other foods. It's actually one of what's called the Clean 15. 15 cleanest vegetables as far as holding pesticides, but we're still going to peel off the first 2 just to be safe. All right. Next thing, we want to peel off one more layer because we're going to use that as a top layer on when we pack our sauerkraut. because we don't want the cabbage being exposed to air, because that can create some spoilage and it can ruin our sauerkraut. So we're going to peel off one layer to act as our barrier. Put that on the side. Next thing we do, just slice it in half. Right. Here we go. So we're going to take half at a time. Okay, so I bought a peeler, right? It looks like this. I tried using it, but it tends to not do the job completely. It does the job a little bit, but it's still, a knife is probably your best bet. But we're going to give it a shot and see if we can get more proficient at doing it. It would be lovely if this thing would work 100%, but it's not the world we live in, I guess. Because it does shred it pretty nice. It just doesn't shred the outside layers as good, right? The leafy layers. So we're going to peel those off, and we're going to cut those with a knife. All right, so there we go. We have our cabbage. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to take about a tablespoon and a half of sea salt. I'm going to add that to the mix. Whee! So that was maybe 1 1/4. Add a little more. Get in there. All right, right there. About a tablespoon and a half. Okay. Now you're going to just start mixing it up. You're going to get your hands in there. Let me chop this up because that's not supposed to be that big. There we go. All right, let's move this out of the way. So you're going to start using your hands and kneading it, almost like you were kneading some dough. Trying to break up all that fiber in the cabbage. And as you start kneading it, it's going to take about 5 minutes, right? But as you start kneading it, you're going to notice the salt is going to start pulling the water out of the cabbage. And you're going to get a lot of water in it, which is what we want. Okay. I think we got a good mush going. So now we're going to get our mason jar. We got one mason jar. This is was it 28 ounces. I got this at True Value. 4 of them was on sale. Got it for under 1,000 pesos. That would be $20 US. And we just stuff it in there and we got to pack it down. And we stuff it in again, pack it down. So it looks like maybe 1 head of cabbage probably doesn't quite fill a whole mason jar, but it's good to have some space in the top because what's going to happen is it's going to expand. And as it expands, if it's too high, it's going to overflow. Even with a cap on it, the fluid will start to spill out. All right, there we go. So once you got it in your mason jar, just pack it on down. You want to try and pack it down as best you can because you want the cabbage to be covered by the fluid. All right. Just like that. There we go. Ah, it's nice and packed. All right, so it fills it about 3/4. Right, here's where that something to mush it down would be very helpful. Want to keep that fluid in there. All right, so that's about where we're at. All right, now we're going to cover it with those leaves that we had. So this way, again, we keep all the cabbage below the fluid. There we go. We just put a few of those on there, and that'll prevent it. Then I always put a little bit of salt on top, just in case we get any problems. The salt will make sure that none of the bad bacteria will get out of hand. So just a little bit of salt, just like that much. And just a little on top. There we go. Now, cover it. Oops. So we stick the cover on. Right? These mason jars are excellent because the top is not metallic. Right? You keep it away from metal as best you can. Cover it tight. And you put it in a nice dark place. And in about 4 or 5 days, you're going to have some good, excellent probiotic that is cheap to make and very good for your gut health. All right? Okay, so we're going to take our sauerkraut out now. It's been about 5 or 6, no, it's been 6 days, I'm sorry. It's been 6 days since we put it in, and it's had plenty of time to ferment. Here it is. Okay, you can see that when we started, we were at 3/4 full, and now it's filled all the way up to the top because, like I mentioned earlier, it's going to expand. And I had it in placed, all the jars were in this tin. You can see this tin has right on the top there where the juices had overflown. So when you're making it, just make sure you put it in something that's going to catch the juice as it expands. Now what's going to happen now is when I open it, we're going to see some bubbles coming from the top. I'm just going to get my little stand here. And that's going to be the fermenting. All right. So I'm going to put this right here and stick that right there. So you should be able to hear it. There it goes. And you can open it. And what I wanted to show you was, you look on the top here, you'll be able to see some bubbles coming up. So there's some bubbles that are coming up that is showing you that it's fermenting. But we tasted it and it tastes fine, so all done. So I'm going to put all 3 of these in the freezer. It's a little bit salty, so maybe not as much salt. Maybe a tablespoon would be fine. We did a tablespoon and a half, and it seems a little bit salty. So maybe a little bit less. Here we can now see the bubbles. All right, when we put it in the fridge, it's going to stop fermenting, and that's going to be how we like it. If you like it a little bit more sour, a little bit more kick to it, you can ferment it a little longer, like a little less, and put a little less. So I hope this helped you out. Give it a shot. Keep that gut nice and healthy, and leave a comment. Let me know how it works out for you if you have any questions. And if you want to hear more good tips on health, just subscribe to my channel. And like and share this page if you know somebody that can benefit from it. As I said before, this is one of my first videos. Doorbell rings. So hopefully they'll get better. All right. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.